Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to a small sports podcast. This is where you're going to find us talking about all things sports all the time. Of course, you can always check us out on YouTube for all of our other content. The three main shows going to be our Hollow Hunters with the Pokemon, Small Gaming as always. And again, like I said, this is a small sports podcast. I am Luke.
I'm Jesse.
I am Drake.
And I'm Dave. Let's jump right in, guys.
Oh, sploosh. You said jump in.
I
don't
that.
know.
That's good. Very Olympic style too, right?
Yeah, exactly. The closing ceremonies happen, right? It's all in there. A little bit of housekeeping, guys. As you heard, obviously we're talking about a small sports podcast. Obviously, all of us have a lot of different avenues of interest in sports. This is really the only place we've been able to find a way to kind of talk about it at all times. Of course, we have, like I said, the other avenues that we usually go into with our Hollow Hunters Pokemon stuff, small media gaming. So the boys are always gaming in all different avenues as well. Do it. Just do it.
Yeah, I got it.
Break the seal. Break the seal.
Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, wow. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to all of our content, we wanted to find a way to break that into to what we're doing here today.
Where do they find us, Luke? Where do they find us?
So yeah, obviously youtube.com/smallmedia for all pieces of our content. But of course, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, Instagram, every other form of social media. I think that's probably the only one we haven't covered.
Yeah,
It's probably about it.
Yeah, if you guys
even on the old TikTok.
Yeah, even on the TikTok.
No
Yeah.
TikTok.
If you guys do want to find us on an audio perspective too, we're up on Spotify. The Spotify.
Podbean.
Still trying to
Podbean.
find our way into Apple. Man, they are poof.
Yeah, for anybody who's wondering, because I know we've had some people ask us a bit about it in terms of it. Apple's just been it's been wonderful to try and fix, but it's
Just give him the truth. He's
all-
tried once,
all
it
it is-
didn't
all it
succeed,
is-
and he hasn't tried since.
essentially all that's
Don't feed him
happening.
full of bullshit.
No.
All four of them.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Essentially, it's just that Apple's not recognizing that our Apple ID is activated. So
They don't care about us. They
And
never
so it's
did.
sitting there, it's being like, you need to activate your Apple ID, and be like, I fucking have already. And I'm like, I've hit activate 15 times before you can start your thing. And it's like, make sure you enter all the information. I did twice. I was like,
Twice or 15 times.
So that's how you spend. That's how you spend your weekend.
well, it's every now and then I keep going back to try it and see if it's maybe just needed time to like work itself out, and then it just doesn't. And so, I mean, look, if anybody else has run into that, other podcasters out there who are watching this, man, let us know what your fix is, because
Need
short
to
of trying to
find
get
a
a hold
loophole.
of
Person in the
Apple at this
comments,
point.
is your caps lock on?
He probably didn't try that.
No.
Oh man.
Luke, how was your weekend? We didn't get to see you, buddy.
Yeah, man, weekend was good. Had some family in. Finally got the parents.
Frank and Joe.
This is the first time that my parents have been at the house since we moved in.
True.
Because because we moved in at the very end of September, beginning of October. They stuck around for probably 5 or 6 days to help us move in, settle in, and all that kind of stuff. Then we went back to Nova Scotia in November, and then everything stopped from there. So we did end up going back to Halifax a couple weeks ago to visit most of the rest of the family, but this is the first time that the parents have been back to the house since. So
And you got your dad mowing the lawn.
well, I mean, they didn't get to see the lawn before, so
Dad, do you want to see
really
this
wanna-
amazing lawn? Here,
Does he
you know,
know
why
your
don't you get a
house?
closer look with this lawnmower as well?
Free labor, boys. Free labor.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, but no, it was pretty relaxed. We just had the family in and around, and we had Spencer's family in yesterday. Did a big lobster dinner with everybody, so
Nice.
that was pretty sweet. I was basically just using that as an excuse to have lobster. So
For those of you,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know us or don't know already, we East Coasters.
yeah, yeah.
I do make
All
fun
the
of you
fishes.
for the lawnmower thing, but I know at the exact same time, if my dad came, he'd be uncontrollable in my place, just doing things and doing
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
It's just you just can't stop it.
I haven't
Like,
had a
it's-
dirty dish upstairs since I got here. Like, mom's constantly like cleaning stuff. I'm like, you could just leave it. It's like, no, come dry the dishes. It's like, oh, okay, I'll fine.
Yeah, like straight up, like your dish is about to even touch the table. She just grabs it up. And then,
Yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna complain.
No, that's a really good weekend, man.
Yeah, Jay, what you get up to, buddy? You worked, didn't you?
I worked. I was at the old mill
the old mill.
The old lumber mill.
for the greater part of the weekend, and then yesterday, I guess after the mill, I took off the work boots and hit up to a patio. And then went to a little neighborhood joint, St. Louis. I don't know if you guys have that.
A little neighborhood joint.
No, St. Louis. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dave and I were there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we joined.
You guys were there? You made it?
Jesse, geez, I must have been tired after work.
No? And then
Too much
today,
sawdust in the eyes.
today I went to got groceries. It was very exciting.
Nice.
It was, went to Bed Bath & Beyond. There wasn't enough time.
Oh, Bed Bath and Bend Me Over.
There wasn't
Oh.
enough time.
I
Wow.
hate that place, man.
Yeah, that's like it's like what I imagine like just the bathroom section of IKEA is.
It wronged me so hard, man.
Yeah,
The
but
one time
there's
Shane and I
Beyond.
went there. I'll
Don't
never
forget
go
about
again.
the Beyond.
The Beyond.
The Beyond is actually the nice candle section they have. No, they do. And I got another one. I don't know what the brand is, but I'll
No,
make sure
those
to
are
take
the
a picture.
Yankee candles.
Oh,
No, I don't
man.
think they're
Top
Yankee.
level.
I don't think they're Yankee candles.
Oh, I don't know. I was just making it
They're,
up.
they're the ones that like make that burning wick noise, like firewood crackling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Those are like top level luxury candles.
Just say, sometimes
know
I
how
light,
we
a,
got
ca-
onto
I light a
candles,
candle in the
boy,
living room. I blow it out because it's very expensive, but then
Yeah.
I take that image in my head and lay in the bathtub. Sometimes I take the recorder and just play it over.
You know, you could probably just on your TV play the burning log. Like,
Yeah. No,
A
man.
normal person would mute the TV.
Oh, my God.
Mute the
he's
TV.
telling you to mute the TV. That's probably a good idea.
You're bossy, man. Oh, my God. Let's talk about sports.
It just naturally comes
Fuck.
through me. Someone,
Well, no, you
someone
guys-
tries to be the leader and just can't even do it.
Me, what do you mean tries to be the leader? Oh, my God. I'm leaving.
You guys were at the.
Fucking leaving.
You guys were at the St. Louis.
Yep.
The St. Louis. Oh God.
The St. Louis. We were at the St. Louis.
And that was you guys. So you guys got to watch some of the UFC there.
Yeah, we watched.
guys were there for a
my,
little
girl, my
bit.
girl Penne give.
girl.
I think she's Polish. Some Polish chick.
matter, yes,
Hard arm bar, man. She was on her like a cheap coat.
That was a really
Cheap coat.
cool like Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of like battle there. Like
Yeah.
while they were fighting for it, like both of them were doing like really good just like the solid technique of just the two of them going right at it.
Nice.
You know, a little bit of striking in there, but it was just cool form. Like you just see them like throwing for it. It was like, as if it was like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fight specifically.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Both of them were pretty evenly matched that way.
Yeah, it was
No.
cool to see.
Oh,
No.
my girl Penne.
But it's a nice difference though, because typically beforehand, like remember in like the younger days of the UFC, all people wanted to see was people get knocked the hell out.
Right.
But then you see something like that happen, you're
They
like,
still
man,
do.
like that's impressive. Like that, like it was just as exciting to see like who's gonna actually get a hold. Because she was going for. Do you remember, Dave?
Yeah,
She was
it was
going for
like
the
a
ankle at
minute
one
and a
point,
half.
that heel hook or whatever.
But yeah, when Penne almost had her ankle locked up. It was pretty,
Yeah.
pretty rough. But after like about a minute and a half, for a minute and a half she had commit. She's like, I'm gonna armbar you. The way she had her on the ground, she's grappling. She's like, I'm gonna armbar you for like a minute and a half, and you're like slowly seeing it happen. And then the one girl just twisted a little bit too much. She's like, it's over now. And then she got her leg across her face. She, like, her arms. It was bad.
And like, was that the win? Like, did she
Oh, yeah,
actually
over.
get it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
She won on the
Grinded
armbar.
through that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was over.
Yeah.
And then we watched we watched a little bit the first round of Ed Herman's fight against, I can't remember his name, but man, I can't believe he went the distance. He lost in decision, right?
We did, yes.
But at the end of the first round, he took so many leg kicks. His shin was like, boop. Like it looked like he had like an anthill coming out of his shin.
Camel's back.
Yeah, camel's back. It was brutal, man. Like he was just standing like standing off, kind of getting his distance and figuring the other guy out. But he was like the whole time he's like lifting his left leg, like whoa,
Can't put any weight on that.
it was painful, man. Like it was pretty rough. But I think we didn't get to see the rest of the fights, unfortunately. But there were some big ones. Jesse, why don't you jump in about what happened?
It's very class project-y, Dave.
Pushing on the bulk of the work.
I should just hear calling everybody out on the freaking podcast.
Jesse's having a bad day or something. Just let it go.
I'm having a great day, obviously.
I'm having a great day.
Yeah, obviously then the main event was Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis.
The Beast.
That was I watched the fight today. It was good. I mean, obviously a lot of good stand up. Yeah, I don't think Derek Lewis kind of got pushed back the whole fight. He just kind of stepped back. He was getting pressed the whole fight by Gane. He was eating a lot of speaking of like a lot of lower body kicks. And by the time the third round came down, I mean obviously Derek Lewis was not only more tired, but he was hurting. He couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, like Gane is gonna definitely have. He has more agility. He has more longevity in his fight. Known for being somebody who takes it a long distance, usually. But the one thing I noticed was I feel like I think it was in the second round, he got popped right in the eye, like the full fist right in the middle of his orbital bone, and you could tell he was just like, he was shook. Like it looked like he was winking at him for a whole round. Like he couldn't even look out of his eye for a better part of it. And he
There looked like Mike Wazowski.
yeah.
And actually, that
really?
same thing.
That was bad.
Came at Kirk, kind of threw him to the mat at the last third round too.
Yeah.
He took an eye hit in the left eye as well.
Yeah.
Dropped from it after it kind of got hurt and went back.
And like I just like that was part of the highlights and stuff that I seen. Like just full front of his fist right to the eye. Like no other place. Didn't kind of hit his temple. Didn't kind of hit his nose. Right on the eye. All I could think was, I'm not gonna look out of that eye for another week. Like that's like I can imagine he's probably just gonna be swole the whole time, just swollen, man. Like that'd be brutal. And I think that obviously caught him off guard and that shook him for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Gaines just fast, man.
Well, he's almost like a middleweight fighting.
Yeah,
but like not size of middleweight.
Yeah, I forget who's the guy on TSN, the weird broadcaster for TSN that has like the weird spiky black hair. I forget his name. I never respect a lot of what he says, but like he was like, man, he's like. This is yesterday before. No, I don't feel like he's an actual MMA reporter. I've never
he's
heard
strictly MMA.
Yeah, just for TSN. So I feel like he probably doesn't really have a lot of gumption, and I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know any of his credentials or anything. But
Knock on your door.
yeah, but I do know. Like I was watching some of the stuff yesterday before the fights, and he's like, he honestly has the movement of a fencer. And I was like, what? But like the way that he moves forward and backward, how quick he is, how he'll recognize the way that the body in front of him is moving, and he'll like, I think it's called like plie, like backwards and forwards and stuff. I was like, man, that's a weird way to look at it, but it's true. That's how he works. Like he's really, really quick for his size.
Does he have a shot? Cool. Does he have a good shot?
I don't know, man. He's young too. Like he's young, he's strong. I feel like he's got a shot against Francis, but I mean, Francis is top level right now.
Yeah, he's getting better and better too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Ngannou hasn't gone down.
That's gonna be a good match to watch. That.
Yeah, and they're both French too, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Ngannou's from Africa, but
I mean, like both fighting out of France.
Yeah.
And I believe Cyril Gain is French.
Yes.
Gain is French for sure. Yeah.
100%.
But Ngannou is African.
Yes, but I mean, he fights out of France, I believe.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. I feel like it was going to be a lot easier for Francis if it was going to be Lewis. I think Gain's going to give him a different level of competition. And
this whole time, Stipe is just Stipe.
I
call him Stipe.
I call him Stipe too. Yeah, I think he's
in the background. Had like
he's playing the waiting game, man. He's got to.
They haven't let him fight.
I know.
It's not even the waiting game. It's just they're not even giving it to him. He doesn't sell anymore.
Yeah. Do you think that they'll put him up against Lewis next? Then
I think he has a fight lined up with Jones potentially.
Jones, yeah. That'd be a good first fight for Jones. Like earn it. It's not going to be an easy fight. It's not going to be an easy fight for him. But like, if you want to fight the next champ after these two get the belt figured out, earn it.
Give me a belt.
Earn a former heavyweight champion. Like jump in there and like, if you're going to be the heavyweight that wants that belt, get it.
It'd be a good fight.
Oh yeah. I think that'd be a good fight too.
Who would have more to prove? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, like exactly. Like is Stipe going to want to like really like own that and say like John Jones is not coming through me? Like that's my belt, and John Jones is going to be. I need to jump in here and be a champion to be a champion. Like, well, we'll see.
Can we talk about weigh-ins a little bit for a second?
Yeah,
because like remember like we were having this conversation at St. Louis, like or St. Louis. I don't know. Is it St. Louis or St. Louis? Who knows?
Yeah, St. Louis.
Giannis. It is what it is. Stipe. They wait. Like I remember they said like when that's that second fight we started to watch for the 1 round, Jay. They said like the weigh-ins were 210. I was like, man, those boys are not 210 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Like how can that be the form of the fight?
They do a very good job. Like they cut so crazily before they're on there. Like when they get onto that onto the scale, they are at a point of almost exhaustion for a lot of fighters. They cut so hard, and then as soon as they're done, water, food, getting putting weight back.
IV.
Yeah. Like the guys put on a good amount of weight.
How it works. I understand.
There's those hydration chambers
but
now.
I don't understand why is that the way it should be. Like before you go into the ring the next day, you got to make sure you're this weight.
No, so it's it's the risk that the player chooses to take on. Like that's like McGregor when he was fighting at 135. Like he was literal skin and bones. Like you couldn't peel the skin off of his muscles and his ribs because he was so thin. But that was because he knew he had an advantage going in at that weight class. So he's willing to put himself through that to fight at that weight class.
No, I know, but then they weigh in at 135, but he goes into the fight at 155.
Yeah, if you can do it.
That's what I mean. That I'm trying to ask the question, like the conversation I want to have is, why is that the standard? That doesn't make much sense.
I mean, like it's
Pretty much
changed a
how
little
boxing is
bit.
going with everything. It's just
I understand.
Yeah.
but
because you have to
why?
have two people at an equal advantage,
Yeah.
pound for pound, for size. Obviously, if they're
But when
both,
the fight happens, they're not.
Yes,
but if the fight were to happen, they're not going to drain their energy to go in there to make to a certain weight, then fight it out. They give them the chance to meet at this weight, and then you have the next 24 hours, whatever, to go into it.
yeah, the a lot of the process too, like a lot of these weights have been in place for a very long time and haven't
Decades.
changed, and where typically a typical heavyweight fighter at the time would be fighting at that. But as time's gone on, and you get these just different athletes that come in there at different sizes. They come in there, cut weight, and say, hey, look, I've made weight. And then they just go back and then boom, they got a little bit more size when they jump in. So they can, but so some
What's
guys
the time
do.
frame? What's the time frame of I'm
all
on the
depends-
scale, now I'm fighting?
Well, the weigh-ins,
24 to 36 hours.
exactly.
This is not not
Like
crazy
they
long
weigh in
time.
the
Yeah.
night before, then they fight that like the following night. Obviously
Well,
the
even the
following
day, kind
the
of.
following night tends to be like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and they weigh in at 9 p.m. on the Friday, let's say.
Okay, in my head I was thinking it was more of a gap too. So
No, it's a
not
day.
not as bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very unhealthy for these people to be doing it
Yeah.
too, right?
But that's the thing is like, you know, as much as you say is like, well, why would they let them do it? Well, you get a guy who's walks around at 145, cuts to 135 for a fight. Oh, that's nothing. That's pretty straightforward. You get a guy who's 160, 165, cutting down to 135. Hey, he shouldn't be doing that. If he can, good for him. At the same breath, though, he's done so much more work to get down to that weight that in a day, he's not just going to be able to be perfectly fine. He's willing to cut that weight because he thinks he has a better advantage, but it's a lot less healthy for him to do it, and it's not really helping him the following day. Like
A lot of the guys are also just putting that weight back on to get their energy back too, right? And like just bodies are different. Like some people's bodies will gain more weight naturally just from going back to a quick diet when they're done. Some guys would just by getting the water weight back on is just gonna be nice, but some guys it's purely just to get your energy back. Because when those guys go on there, like if they're cutting hard, like if they're stretching to get on there, and the heavyweight's probably probably really the main one that people are stretching to cut for. Guys who are fighting at different in
I don't
between
know.
weight.
'Cause you could be heavyweight. You can be a certain bracket.
because there is
over.
no super heavyweight anymore. It's just
Yeah.
it's just heavyweight.
But that's what I mean. Like
Light heavy
there's
might be.
like guys are
Yeah.
cutting like more weight to try and make it from their walk around weight. I feel like a lot of the time where guys in the middle weights to featherweights and guys like that are a little bit closer to their weight class.
Heavyweights really don't have like a specific limit though. Like you don't have to come in at 225 to
You can
fight.
come in
You
at
can
350, right?
you can be 240 and unhealthy. That sucks for you. Like you're not really cutting so much in heavyweight. You're probably thinking more light heavyweight.
I think
Because there's guys that are walking around at 225, 230 that are fighting in light
under
heavyweight. Like,
205.
yeah.
Yeah, but then you have
That must have been the fight that like Herman.
Herman. They'd have been light heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
He was not 205. There's no way. That's what they said they weighed in. And I was like, man, those are big boys. Like, I'm almost 205. Like,
Yeah.
that guy was 8'12". Like,
8 foot.
there's no way he was 205 pounds. Also, fun fact: I played a little bit Jackbox last night, like the murder mystery thing, whatever, and I learned something about boxing and UFC. Do you guys know what the lowest class of weight is?
Flyweight?
Is it straw weight?
Nope. Yes.
I know it's
Is this
featherweight.
boxing or UFC?
Well, maybe they're different, but I think the question was boxing last night.
Yeah.
Is it super
Spit
straw
the
weight?
knowledge,
No?
bro.
It's bantamweight.
Oh, okay. Bantamweight, yeah.
I didn't know that. I actually guessed featherweight.
Bantamweight is underneath.
Probably for boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably for
Yeah.
boxing.
So there's
yeah.
a fun fact for the folks out there.
Bit different for
Jackbox
UFC.
TV.
Yeah, bit different for UFC probably,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But I guessed featherweight. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, bantamweight.
Well, featherweight's above bantamweight, but I know that was straw weight for girls. I guess I was thinking.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
there was a category.
that might be
Yeah.
that might be different for female, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But bantam was only just newly brought in after they kind of absolved. What was the other league they absolved?
One.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. One
Yeah.
fighting. But
So-
yeah,
That was. I've always like after hearing that last night, I was like, that guy's not 205. I wanted to just pick your guys' brain on that.
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's a good thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just to sum it up, I think you pretty much said it the best there, Drake, too, was like these classes come from decades old, and now that athletes have changed, it's just athletes can take advantage of them if they can, and the rules and that kind of thing for those guidelines haven't really changed. If anything, they've just created more
anyone
of
can
them.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it is amazing though. You look at pretty much all sports and just how a lot of the types of athletes have changed, but the rules have not changed with them, or like just the positions or like the whole framework of it. Like if you look at basketball, man, like again, you look at
You used to have a
30 years
little
ago.
basket on it. Literally, it changed.
No,
They used to use a
no,
Jesse.
no, that was pretty arrogant. No, but what I mean is just like
We need those baskets back. They
no,
literally
but
had
like
baskets.
if you look at the positional perspective of them, like centers, for example, the reason they were centers because of the position they played and where they played on the court, and these guys were typically taller guys, but they stayed underneath the hoop. And that was it. And you look at today's day now, man, where your centers are shooting 3-point shots and are bringing the ball up the court and things like that. And some rules have slightly changed, but nothing like overly crazy, or not a lot of the certain like vocabulary and things like that have always been around the entire time, right? So it is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's like that's the same, like that's what gets everybody into the argument of Gretzky, Crosby, McDavid, like who's better, MJ, LeBron, like who's the GOAT and all that kind of stuff. Like everybody's gonna get into those conversations, but like sure, the game itself hasn't changed, but the players who play it and what they can take advantage of and what they can do now is completely different from that side to that side, from this time to that time. Like
well, I could send an argument your way on this one.
sure.
Because the game does change. All the sports that we know and that we talk about on a daily basis, they have slight tweaks to
Evolution of
them.
rules,
Yeah,
and sure.
Yeah, like in NFL, for example, like the catch rule, like what is a catch, right? That changed everything. Whenever Tom Brady got hit in the ankle, and they call that, you can't be doing that, like anything from the knee down. All these things change, and they tweak every little perspective of these athletes and how they're playing the sport.
Sure.
Hockey, for example, the pads got bigger, then they got smaller, the net was bigger, then it was smaller. Like
2-line pass.
yeah, 2-line pass, like
But they're very
little things,
minimal.
right?
The changes are very minimal.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
idea of
but
the
they do
sport
they
is
add
still
up
the
and they
same.
affect how things go.
Yeah,
They do, but the idea of the sport is
very much the same.
very much the same.
Yeah.
structure,
What,
like
what
the
you're
bones
saying
of
is things like
things.
that's like safety stuff or whatever, but like they haven't really changed anything. And for example, UFC for saying like the weight class differences or something like that. Like a lot of the times, it's all been the same weights for all
That
the weight
probably
classes
changed the
and
most. They
stuff.
used to be a tournament base where people used to like, fight like 4 or 5 times in the same night.
That's actually a pretty good point. Yeah.
UFC, I guess, would be the one like segregated that,
Yeah.
that drew into boxing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
boxing was the one that had that structure, and UFC was just like free for all.
Oh man.
I just fought 45 minutes ago. I don't care. He fought 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Also-
he's 350 pounds. I'm 150. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
That was the
Get in
crazy
there.
Time.
If you go back on YouTube and you look at those older fights, man, it's crazy to see
Oh,
some of the
Oh,
matchups.
nuts, man.
Like, yeah,
Oh
it's
my-
true. You do your best.
It is
Royce
crazy.
Gracie versus like a Samoan wrestler. Like what?
Yeah. But it's a lot different. I can't speak more so to hockey, but obviously I can speak to basketball. Like just the size of point guards now. Like
Yeah.
the point guards are
Ben
massive
Simmons.
now.
But the basketball specifically, I find that it's not your position is just a title now. It's just you got to get your 5 most athletic guys on the
Exactly.
court, and you're going to be on that side. Like
Yeah.
besides point guard, obviously they consistently bring the ball up the court on a consistent basis. But other than that, the other 4 guys are like you're center, but really you're a forward, and you're like it's all over the place.
Exactly, and
yeah.
the most that they've done, because and that's kind of my point, is that they still call it a point guard, a forward, a center, or whatever. I mean, at the most, like basketball players, if you played, they also call it like 1 to 5, 1, 2. You play the 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, based off of, right? And it all came from because your coach would just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You're playing
And
3.
so it's
You're
like-
playing 3 right now, but this guy
so-
come off the court. You're playing 5.
So
Like-
like your 1 was your point guard, your 2 is your shooting guard, 3 is your small forward, 4 is your power forward, and 5 is your center. But now you can kind of adapt that a bit more because it's such like positionless basketball that
They
it's-
took my idea. I used to do that all the time in NBA 2K4.
yeah.
I used to take the best players and put them on team. Didn't matter the positions.
It's but it's true though. That's the way
Sometimes
that it
you could
works
duplicate
now. Really.
Allen
This
Iverson.
guy's got a
Give him
99.
the all.
This guy's 99 overall. He's gonna be on my team.
Basically what the Lakers did this year.
Yeah. No kidding, man.
To just probably jump into our probably main topic that we're going to be talking about this podcast is just
well,
how
did
crazy
the Lakers stack or did Miami stack, bud?
Miami got okay. So Miami,
I
hold
didn't
on.
want to get into this
Miami-
Yeah, we're gonna
fast.
get into it.
My
Get it out of the
Miami.
No, we won't.
Luke's
We'll be here till 11 him talking.
But But
It's
no,
7 in the morning,
I
by the
won't
way.
even touch on Miami yet. Like the Lakers did a lot of moves, like a lot.
There was
They got Carmelo,
there's obviously a handful of teams that were just like, holy shit, you guys made a lot of moves. There's a handful of teams that just went crazy. There's plenty of teams that didn't really do a lot.
For the listeners, why don't we start by just breaking down the few teams and who signed who?
So obviously the Lakers is just the easiest one to talk about because that's, I feel like, what everybody probably already knows. The Lakers picking up Russell Westbrook was huge. Then they signed Carmelo Anthony,
Dwight Howard.
Malik Monk, Dwight Howard.
Oh,
they
Howard
brought
went too. I didn't
Dwight Howard went back.
Trevor Ariza.
I honestly say,
LeBron
I
is?
also,
Yeah.
So now they need 10 All-Stars. They need 2 full lines.
No, see, the argument for this is, though, the argument for the Lakers is they went with a lot of age. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of, there's 6 or 7 guys over 32.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of guys who are older. Like, you know, obviously Russell Westbrook's not old, but he's getting there. Carmelo Anthony is older. LeBron is older. Dwight Howard is older. Ariza's older. Like, the one guy that they picked up that it's like, oh, damn, okay, no way. He's the young guy, Malik Monk.
Yeah.
But even then, like, he's not like a crazy outstanding player. He's going to be another good role player.
Well, the joke about the Lakers is the fact that everyone's saying that they're starting a retirement home, but like it is funny though because like
For them.
that
That's
team.
a nice spot to retire.
I'm honestly like fine with that. I know people are tripping saying everyone's old in that team, but like those are all good players. Like Melo's had a resurgence in the league.
Yeah.
Malik Monk, I actually find is one of the biggest
Underrated,
signings, like
for sure.
underrated signings there. He was great when he was playing in Charlotte and that, and like so he's gonna be like because the biggest issue I think that LA had last year was their depth. Like when LeBron and AD came off the court, who was producing? You know what I mean? And that's where they lost a lot of games, and LeBron had to play this huge amount of minutes because you couldn't take him off the court, or else you're going to start to lose.
Yeah.
And so now you got some guys that are on the team that could actually do some stuff.
I feel like for that team now, you know, a lot of people are going to complain about their age and all that kind of stuff, but I think for them, it's just going to be probably a little bit slower paced basketball, but a lot more technical, and they're just going to be having a lot of fun. Like, that's going to be the other thing is it's going to be more enjoyable to watch them because they're all buddies. Like, it'll be fun to watch them play. I think they're going to obviously be strong.
Well, they have the refs on their side. You'll see the NBA shrink the courts in half.
You don't have to run so much, LeBron. It's okay. We're gonna squeeze this in a little.
You're not going to make them bounce and dribble. They don't have to. Come on.
But Westbrook's just
They get 6 steps now instead
The
of 2.
granny throws.
Speaking of older, I do know Iguodala signed with Golden State.
Yes, he
back
did.
too.
He went back
I
over
really
there.
like
the
That's
Iguodala,
probably.
man.
I think that probably means he's in his last year or two.
He's
I think
definitely
he's
gonna be
probably
retiring.
going to retire there.
I said, speaking of older.
I think he's liked his time there and everything like that. But
Okay, I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Kyle Lowry went to the Heat, and I'm not happy about it.
so
No, but he put a
okay.
message
So
on notes. It's okay.
let's just We'll talk about Toronto first in terms of like because you're the big
screwed there?
Toronto fan here,
Yes.
and so like you've had a couple of signings. You're going to get Dragic, you're going to get Precious Achua there, and
Sneeze, gesundheit.
and one other one they
Kareem Birch.
you signed Birch as well.
Birch,
And then
yes.
Masai signed back on for a big extension, and he's taking over a larger role for the team. So
Yeah. So what do you think about like how either I think I know what your overall thoughts are on how their free agency went, but like what do you think of like his strategy is? Like where do you think they're trying to go? Do you think they're just trying to make room and
at
take
first,
time?
at first, I thought where they were being so quiet and Masai was like not necessarily signed on yet. I thought he would stay, and I'm glad he is because I do think as an executive, him and Bobby Webster have done super well. They've made a lot of moves that were controversial, but it also got them a championship. So, you know, I like that front office for sure. But I mean, outside of that, they hadn't really done anything in the offseason. I mean, you've got Pascal, you've got OG, you've got Van Vliet. Malachi Flynn, I think, will fill in for Lowry pretty well. Like Lowry and Van Vliet said that he's, you know, a killer guard. He's already had a great start to his summer season. So I think he'll be a good replacement. He'll be definitely serviceable, but I just don't think that team has any playoff gumption so far. Like Precious Achua is good. I'm glad they got him on the sign and trade. Goran Dragic is the only person over 28 on that team now. And that's not a stat I pulled out of my ass. That's truth.
It's crazy.
The only other than Dragic, the oldest player is 28 years old, and that's Kareem Birch, and that's Kareem Birch who also just resigned.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Do you think that Masai got a bit distracted with his own signing from the signs that he wanted to do? Because
I think he knew what he was going to do anyway. I think they were probably going for some different trades that they didn't get. That's what I'm assuming.
Because they didn't there was a lot of available players, but I mean, we've obviously talked about this before. That the unfortunate thing is that Toronto, Canada is a hard place to sign a free agent.
Yeah,
because
Toronto's not everybody. Everybody likes Toronto, they like the Drake of it all and all that kind of stuff, but nobody wants to play there.
Yeah, and
You
so
like Toronto because of Drake?
Well, no,
Well,
but
a lot of basketball players.
but
yeah.
a lot of people do like Toronto in the
He
States.
didn't start from the bottom.
And a lot of people do like Toronto from the States just because the way that the team is and the attitude that the teams had. Obviously, Drake being a part of it was a big thing, and the overall production of them and everything like that, and the marketability of
Toronto's
them was
a
actually
respected
very good.
team, but it's just not it's not like a big name place. You're not getting to play in New York, not getting to play in LA, you're not getting to play in Florida. You're playing in Canada.
Yeah.
It gets cold.
Yeah.
It's just not it's never been something that was ever a really big place to go.
It's a hard place to sell to somebody saying,
understandable.
"Hey,
Yeah.
do you want to come here?" You can trade and get guys to kind of force them to come over.
Yeah.
But to ask somebody, "Hey, do you want to move away from LA that's sunny all year round to the winter?"
Yeah.
And it's a hard.
Well, the big thing with the Lowry leaving and all of his goodbyes and stuff, he even said it in a lot of his interviews and stuff with that when he came into Toronto, he got traded here. And he was young, and in his previous teams, he was being touted as hard to coach and so on and so forth. So he was trying to find a little more level of maturity, a little more leadership, and that kind of thing. So he decided to make Toronto his home, and he settled in, and he dominated. And he's now the greatest Raptor to have played for the team.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
So
Up there.
I think
No, I think Lowry passed. him.
Lowry's
Championship.
definitely the greatest Raptor that's played for that team for sure. Then of course you're gonna get Vince and DeMar and so on, but I do think you are to be able to find another superstar for that team, you're gonna have to draft somebody in and get them to stay and be phenomenal, or trade somebody in and get them to do what Lowry did.
The
You're
unfortunate
gonna have
thing
to
is
get a
that-
young guy to stick around for a
Yeah.
while.
The unfortunate thing is that Siakam just hasn't gotten to the point where they thought he was going to be yet.
Yeah.
He may still get there.
Yeah, he's very good.
He's good.
He is
but
very
he's
good.
good. But I think some people were expecting him to be at this point a little bit further along. Not to say he can't get there, but he still has some work to do when it comes to it. Like last year, just some clutch moments. You would rather rely on OG Anunoby rather than him, right? So, but
when he played alongside Kawhi, when he played alongside Kawhi, he was phenomenal because he didn't have to be the spotlight.
Exactly.
He hasn't really lived
You have to
super
think
well
that.
to
He
that
didn't have to
spotlight.
think of the responsibility. He didn't. He knew that if there's something that's going to happen here, I can rely on Kawhi, and I don't have to have that thought. I don't have to overthink the situation. I don't have anything. He can just play and react.
Yeah.
But your draft, Scotty Barnes. I think you're gonna go. This would be a pretty long team.
And you know what? Now looking at it from the outside in, now that it's already happened, obviously everybody really thought Jalen Suggs was going to be the big guy for that draft for us at number 4. It was supposed to be a 4-player draft, and they didn't take that 4th player. But looking at it now, I think Scotty's going to fit in really well, especially where they haven't done any other signing. They haven't picked anybody else up. I think to have Malachi Flynn fill in as the guard makes a lot more sense, because if they drafted Suggs, then they'd have 3 guards that should be sharing time and nobody else to fill in that 3-4 spot or that 2-3 spot or something like that. So.
And Fred VanVleet will obviously take the starting point guard role,
without
and I think he's obviously earned it.
For sure. He's going to be the leader on that team. He's,
and-
he's the new Lowry.
But the nice thing is
that little short guy.
Yeah.
good shooter.
No,
good
he's
shooter.
really good.
I like him though.
He's. I think the only difference between him and Kyle
He's
is
built just like a little Minecraft character. Yeah, he is. He's very.
He's Steve?
He's very. He's very compact and.
he's very small, but he is though. You know what? It's weird to say that, but that's actually how he plays. He's very he's rough. He'll get in there and he'll attack you. He'll get in for the steals. He'll get under you, no problem.
And so the nice thing
But
about
he's not
that,
as loud as Lowry.
And the nice thing about that is that actually him and Dragic are kind of similar in the way they play, because Dragic's the same type. He'll get in there and he's got a little nice mid-range game and floater game. Shoot
He has a
three
mining
well.
pick.
So and he's a tough player. Dragic is too. So that's going to add some of that to be consistent from the first line to the second line. When you get your subs coming in, and Dragic will probably come off the bench, but that means you're going to get a 20-point per game guy coming off your bench, which is great. Which is what
Until he gets traded, they're not going to keep him.
You think they're going to trade him?
Well, that's what you said. You said that the team it's a long team. You can't, man. No, I've learned no sport team is a long teamer set up for success in the future. Like
Not long like that. Sorry, I didn't mean long like that.
Okay.
I meant long like legit. Like their body types are all very
okay.
long players.
Physically, they're
lot of
lanky.
Yeah.
lot of 6'7" plus
Gotcha.
guys.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
My bad.
okay.
But I
That's all
thought you
good.
meant because they're so young. Like the oldest
Yeah.
player is 28.
Yeah.
Oh, they're set up for the future. It's like, man, like it's sports. Like you get traded, you get cut, you get injured. Like it's so like that's the to me.
It's tall people slang.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get it.
That's one of
You're
my
short
favorite
man.
things. You're a short man. That's
short
one of my
man.
favorite things about sports is there's so much adversity to have to adhere to and get past because shit happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On a daily basis. Shit happens.
Yeah.
It's weird to say that Toronto's a long team because that was always where they struggled.
Yeah.
They never had the length that everybody else had, and now all these other young guys that they've got in there are filling that length that they needed. So hopefully they can find a couple of like solid big man centers.
Well,
They're
I
looking
think
to
so.
stab you running
Precious,
around.
Precious,
he's always short, man. It's crazy.
he's gonna keep Precious. Precious fits that role the same way,
100%.
and he showed really well in FIBA or in the Olympic, I guess
Yeah,
you'd say.
yeah.
Like
did real
games,
well.
he did very well there. So I think he's gonna add a lot of like really good length and size in your and the biggest thing that I think that you guys running into an issue last year was your ability to protect the rim on the inside.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of defense. Like since you lost
Well,
Ibaka, there's nobody that was
Ibaka
playing
and
good.
Gasol.
And he is a coming from the Heat, but B, he was always like that when he was playing in college. So he was just this guy that would just block anything and everything.
Yeah.
And he's a good versatile player.
Relax.
So.
My roommate was like that.
Puts up a wall.
Except for he'd just be blocking other things, but same, right?
Talking about Dave?
Same.
You talking about Dave?
No, Nathan.
Nathan, the old gup.
Man.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. So the Heat in that trade, I can't believe how well they did. I mean, I do.
Okay,
Like,
it's a lot of basketball. Let's talk about Miami so we can be done with it. Move
this is
on.
our main topic of the day, man.
I know, but we can't be here for 4
But
hours.
I'll do this just so I can
I got moldy laundry.
Yeah.
just so I can do that.
It's molding.
But,
It's not moldy yet.
I have to rewash it now. I can't
Ugh.
afford that.
Yeah, it's rough.
But yeah, I mean, Miami obviously did have a
Restructured the whole
Because no other
Like-
team really like made a huge splash outside of LA and Miami. Right?
Chicago
Chicago
got
did a bit.
Lonzo
Chicago
and
did a bit.
DeMar.
Okay, well let's hit those topics quickly and then we'll end on Miami then. So,
okay.
Yeah, Chicago would probably be one of the only other teams that were like, whoa, they got Lonzo Ball, they got DeMar DeRozan
Right.
to pair with
Solid.
Zach LaVine
Does
already.
does DeRozan even play basketball anymore?
He's good, man.
I think
He's
he's
good
always
there.
sitting because his ankle's broken.
He may
No,
do
man,
well.
he was on the Spurs the last 2 years, did well.
Chicago
Yeah.
mix.
He may do well.
He didn't end up as an all-star there, but I think that's just because the Spurs were kind of a lackluster team anyway. They've now been declining off of their consistent playoffs that they had always been in. So now I think putting him in with Zach LaVine, putting him in with Lonzo Ball, they have a good structure of players there that should do
Yeah.
well. Like Kobe White. I mean, like they've got a pretty strong
only
team.
Tough thing right now is that I heard that Laurie Markkinen potentially wants to get out. He
Yeah,
wants
which
a fresh
sucks.
start.
Like I think he would
That's a
fit in
core
really well
player
there, man.
Yeah. So
don't know
hopefully
why
some of the
he'd be
new guys that
pissed.
are there that can kind of help readjust the team and bring some guys in and say, hey, man, like stay here. We're gonna get something good on the go. But it's tough to say.
I think if DeMar can jump in and take a little bit of a leadership role because he's a vet player, he's experienced. I think if he takes the reins a little bit more instead of letting the Lonzo kind of jump in and
Yeah.
bully the team a little bit with the ball of it all. But
Yeah, it's a chance. Like it's honestly a big chance for him to be a leader because like even when he's on San Antonio, so much of the leadership honestly revolves around Greg Popovich.
oh, 100%.
So you don't really need that core leader player sometimes. But on a team like Chicago, it's
Didn't they
very
always have
young.
Duncan?
Well, no,
Yeah,
but
it's
the way that team is
coaching, man.
played is very.
Yeah,
that,
I understand the coach's point, but like they've always had that leader role.
But
Duncan
no,
didn't have
but
that
they've
guy.
had leader
They've
players,
had leaders, but those players were all came up because of Greg Popovich. Like they're the one team in the NBA that basically is almost run like as if it's like an AU team or a high school team. Like it is very team based
Yeah.
focused, and everything's run off of a very specific system and everything like that. So
like Duncan, Ginobili, all those boys were just
yeah.
like, yeah, it's all Pop.
yeah,
I'll
Pop does it. They'll help lead the guys and basically say, hey, like listen to Pop, listen to this is the system we're doing. They don't have to take control of anything in terms of doing it, but this will be an opportunity for DeMar to go to Chicago with a very young team around him and being the vet that's there and see if he can
I think
actually
the only
lead
thing that he'll
team.
have to respect is that's Levine's team.
Yeah, well, it
All in all, I
depends.
think
Yeah, it's
what it
really
would
gonna have to. But does Levine have the stature yet to say I'm the leader like of a team? Because he's a very.
DeMar? I wouldn't
Slow
say
down
he
here. We're
does.
talking
But-
about Avril or Adam.
But essentially,
Oh,
he's got still a very emotional style of play, right?
Pop
So
singers, regardless.
he's not the type to say like, if you're going off and you're having a bad game or doing whatever, to bring everybody in to like get everyone together,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
unless this is a time for some guys like that to learn how to do that, and so we'll see how Chicago does it.
Speaking of leaders, I think the Heat have like just too much. Like,
So yeah, they did like, so that's the always thing. Like everybody on, if you ever like part of any Heat Facebook groups or anything like that, they'll always say,
no one is.
and
you.
in Riley we trust is what everyone says. You just kind of say everyone says it about Masai and things like
Yeah.
that. But Pat Riley being like the godfather of basketball is what people call him, is just insane how he just can revamp a team to being that good.
I think the thing with Miami, it's obvious that it's going to be Jimmy's team. Like
Yeah.
Jimmy has really
They
fell
came out
into his
publicly
own.
and said it.
Yeah, like Jimmy's come into his own
Butler?
as a leader there. Yeah, and I think like he's already got respect from all the young guys that play with them.
Him and Kyle
But
are
then-
very good friends.
Yeah, and then like Kyle's already good friends with him. PJ Tucker knows his role. Like
Yeah.
he knows he's a role player. So like,
But
they're gonna kill
so
it.
like
man.
that
Who did they
starting
sign for everyone
five.
listening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
they
signed PJ Tucker from the Bucks. They signed. They obviously
Just won a championship.
exactly. Very good defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
Can shoot the three. Kyle Lowry, obviously. They re-signed Victor Oladipo. Got Jimmy Butler. Got Bam still. Jimmy got his extension and that onto it.
Duncan Robinson got his
Duncan
extension.
Robinson got his extension onto it.
They got rid of Kendrick Nunn, which I
Yeah,
think
they
is big.
also signed a guy from the G League who is.
If you don't know what the G League is, check out our last episode.
The G League, like in terms of like how well he's been playing. Not G League, sorry, summer league. They undrafted
that.
player. Yeah,
Strike
undrafted
two.
player. They've been they signed because the Heat did not have any draft picks this year. In the two rounds, they signed 10 undrafted players to their summer league team to see if they could earn a shot to make the team. Two guys were of notice there. Myles Garrett, which was one from the NCAA. He won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2019 there. And then this guy, this giant, I don't know where he's from, and I have a really hard time pronouncing his last name, but it's like Yuri something. He's like a 7 foot tall dude that he can block anything that's on the court, and he can shoot the three. And he was averaging in his first 2 games in summer league like 24 points and 13 rebounds a game. And so they signed him to a 2-year contract. And so the big thing that people are talking about is that starting 5 in Miami right now, Victor Oladipo, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler might be the best defensive starting lineup in a
man.
very long time in the NBA.
That's gross,
Like,
man.
I don't know who's going to score on that. Like, that's just ridiculous.
The ball's going in circles for
Lakers.
24 seconds. Like,
It's
Basketball's
crazy
gonna
how
be
good
figured
they
out
are.
to shoot from their own end now.
They're gonna
just
have
make it
to.
so good they'll just get it just like the.
Yeah, but like it's nuts.
got it from this rim going to
Because
that
like
one.
True.
Bam Adebayo is the type of guy that can guard anybody like on any position, and then you've got guys that are like Victor Oladipo, which is I'm really happy about because he's been tweaking his knee a bit like lately and it's been bad. But now you have so much star power on that team that he can lay off a bit and not have to put as much
be
stress.
I'll
on
have to use his
right.
knees at all now.
Yeah,
Based
Just
off
stay
your-
in one spot.
Just to touch base on your joke,
What joke?
that they're gonna have to start shooting from their own end. That's what Steve Curry started doing. Like he came
Steph
into
Curry?
the sorry,
Steve Curry.
Is it
Welcome
Stephen?
to the
Stephen
Small
Curry?
Sports Podcast.
Steph Curry, sorry, Steph Curry.
Wasn't that funny?
Yeah, no.
Oh, that was
You
funny.
guys say Giannis all the time. It's disgusting.
Still Steve. Anyway, that's funny.
Steph Curry.
That's funny.
This he came into the league and just started cracking threes from half court.
No, he changed. He
He
changed.
changed the game.
He changed the
Like,
game.
It is. It's true. Like
They literally,
well, we gotta adapt.
they thought about making a 4-point just because he made that such a
Him
big deal.
and Damian Lillard, like
Yeah.
the two of them, like really changed it where they were shooting from so far out so easily.
It's a great relation to our one of our
Earlier
conversations
point.
earlier from before that
Yeah,
Changed the game.
Small things happen that literally can tweak the whole sport, right?
yeah, it is. It's interesting to see how guys change it because like not only that, like obviously basketball, just like hockey is and everything like that, is very system based and everything like that. So the way you run your defense is all specific to how you're playing the other team. And if you have to pull a guy saying, "Hey, by the way, you have to now guard Steph Curry from the half court line," like that just spaces the whole court way more more because there's less defensive players in the key and or within 3-point line, and it's just
It gives a lot more open space.
it's nuts like how much it changes it. Like
Yeah, it's like double teaming a guy like Calvin Johnson.
yeah.
It just opens up some.
But it's
receiver's going to be open now.
But it's also like double teaming him on the line, where then there's so much space behind him that like you're like if he breaks through that, then like your whole team has to adjust, which opens up 15 other opportunities. You know what I mean?
That was my segue, by the way.
I do.
That was pretty good.
I was
was
just
pretty
about
good.
to go into that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hall of Fame
It's a
happened.
lot more smooth than I'm used to you making it.
I was gonna make a really choppy, terrible one again, but I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity to have. Yeah. So some really notable. So the Hall of Fame happened this weekend. Some really big names.
The inductees.
The inductees, some gold jackets getting tossed around.
Mr. Gold Jacket Manning.
Yeah. So I think that's obviously the biggest name. Peyton.
Peton.
Peyton
P-Ton.
Manning. If you haven't
P8.
heard of him. Super Bowl winner. He won 2 Super Bowls.
Play for the Knicks.
I thought you were gonna leave it at that. Super Bowl winner. That's
And then
all
you
he's
got-
done. And
Known for
MVP, set records for most yards in the
requiring the largest hat.
in the league. Oh yeah, biggest forehead across the board.
oh my
Had to stay with
Um,
Papa John's for a while, didn't he?
True,
Indeed.
I think
I think he made Papa John's
he might own
big
it. Yeah.
Until that guy became something.
until Papa himself
Him
ruined
and
it.
Eli have agreed to do commentary.
yeah,
This year, too.
so I
Together?
heard that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
So that's gonna be exciting. But yeah, so Peyton, obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
One.
The only one I would think in my own mind to say that is better is Tom Brady.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say he's the best. Tom Brady's the best.
Tom
That's what I'm
Brady's
saying,
just.
the
Yeah,
only
I know,
Yeah.
but like that would be
But
the argument.
for the longest time, the conversation was who's going to go down best of all time, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like
Tom
the
Brady's
past
won a
couple years,
championships
Tom
since
Brady
Peyton.
has just
Yeah.
solidified himself.
But only
Tom-
because Manning retired.
It could be true though, but it's an honest perspective. Like if a player keeps playing, you have obviously more opportunity to keep doing better, right?
or tarnish.
Yeah.
But
Or
that's
tarnish,
true.
exactly,
But
right?
That
Like
didn't happen.
there's just as much
Yeah.
of an opportunity that like if Brady got like crazy hurt before any of this happened, it very well could have been Peyton Manning. But at this point,
It's pretty cool to think about that. If Peyton was still playing, this would be the only real opportunity you could have Peyton versus Tom Super Bowl. Now that Tom's in the NFC,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it was always AFC Championship matchup, right?
Yeah.
Colts and Pats, or Broncos and Pats.
yeah.
Forever, right? For always, and then,
Yeah.
and then it could be like, man, we're gonna have the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Peyton Manning's
I feel like Tom Brady now still performing at the level that he is at his age. Peyton was never going to get there. Peyton was never going to be able to do
retired
that,
when he knew
that
to.
well
Yeah.
when like that old. Yeah,
he knew when to.
It's good to
'Cause
see.
he started to trickle off, and you
Yeah.
were a little worried about him in that last year, and then
It's good
okay.
to see when like certain quarterbacks or just players in any sport just kind of just know when to retire. Like and everyone agrees with it. You know what I mean? Like Brett Favre kind of held on a little too long, and like you know what I mean. And like
Definitely.
it's
Michael
it's
Vick
Michael
and
Vick
Donovan
and guys like
McNabb.
that.
McNabb. Well, that's
Yeah.
the other one I was
Yeah.
going to say is Donovan McNabb. He
Yeah.
definitely held on a little too long.
But you hold off.
Peyton Manning got inducted early, man, like quick. Because no one's ever gonna be like,
No
you're
question.
not gonna make it. You're not gonna get in. You're gonna
Yeah.
hold on and see what happens.
Yeah.
No, like it's like, hey, you are in, dude. Let's
At
get
the
you a
first
jacket.
opportunity, let's get you your jacket so you can move on with doing everything else NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Coaching
from
John Lynch.
Oh
got
yeah,
in.
yeah.
John Lynch, Charles Woodson, Mr. Megatron himself.
Megatron, man.
I love him.
that
He's
one- that
always
one-
been one of my favorite receivers.
That one makes a lot of sense too.
He's
That's
nuts.
pretty quick for his age too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's.
again,
I mean, he
phenomenal.
Yeah,
He's
I
only
think
what, 5
he-
years out? He
Yeah.
played 5 years ago at least.
something like that. Yeah,
He's still in
he-
his
36.
30s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, he
He retired earlier than
Retired
And if you think about probably like because Randy Moss got his last year, right? And I think it was. But
Last year,
No, last year. So 2020 actually was done this year as well.
yeah,
Because like Palomalu and whatnot because of COVID.
yeah. But Randy Moss is in, I believe, right?
he's
he
already
just-
in, but it might have been
I don't know. I
2019.
think it was 19.
Yeah. Okay, that year.
I'll have to Google it.
But what I
after,
mean
yeah.
is that like I think in terms of when it comes to wide receivers being put into the Hall of Fame, if you look at the time frame, guys who are still playing and guys who have retired, there's only been a few retirees that will really stand out that are not playing anymore currently, right? Like
Yeah,
that Larry Fitzgerald's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but like the guy
but
just
it probably will be a couple years. Yeah,
yeah,
like-
the guy
it'll
just
be a
doesn't
while.
want to quit playing. So
Yeah.
it's like you can't put him in yet. You can't do that, right? And that Julio Jones will be in there, and that Hopkins will be in there, and eventually. But a lot of the guys from a receiver perspective have been there wasn't a lot of receivers who have been Hall of Fame caliber in between that, I guess, that time, if that makes any sense. And so obviously Megatron is a good option if you look at the time that when Randy Moss retired compared to what receivers have retired since then that were to that caliber.
Yeah. And you
Really
said,
is Megatron.
You
Yeah,
said
I mean-
Woodson.
Charles Woodson, yeah.
He only retired a few years ago too, right?
No, he's been retired for a bit now. Longer than Manning and
Yeah, I'm
Megatron.
thinking like 4 or 5 years. Like,
No more than that.
really?
Yeah.
Shoot, I must be
Yeah.
off.
But then just to the receiver point there, you got guys like Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and them kind of guys. They got in quick. But I don't like no one really got in as quick as Megatron outside of like Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, he's literally the greatest wide receiver of all time too,
Yeah.
right? And again, that was the old Sidney Crosby versus Wayne Gretzky thing, different sport at the time too, right? You have just more. It was more gunslinging.
Yeah.
And it's run the ball, hard defense, stuff like that nowadays too. But it was, it's pretty cool to see these guys get their coats because
Yeah.
like Megatron was one of the main reasons I love football.
He was
Yeah.
just like stupid to watch. Like it was
DK
just
Metcalf, man.
he was one of those players that just route running great, speed off the line fantastic,
Unmatched.
but like just the fact that somebody like Stafford or somebody like that could just huck a ball in the air, 3 people covering him,
He'll get
and
there.
you know he's just gonna get it. Like you close his eyes, said a prayer to the football gods, and Megatron himself, and just said, "Please catch this," and you would.
Yeah.
it was just ridiculous, man. Like
He's just that kind of athlete. Like it's just unmatched. Like 99 club all day long, all the time, always.
yeah, it's unfortunate that the way that he obviously left because I think he still wanted to
Your
play.
organization's stupid as shit.
They were. They honestly though, I'm not gonna hide. Like at that time, like I think that they've done a good job now of trying to turn things around a bit. Like even heard Slay come out and saying somebody said that when you're gonna play your old team, like you're gonna have any like animosity towards him. He's like, no, Matt Patricia's not there anymore. I don't have no animosity. Like you know what I mean? Like it wasn't an issue with it, but the way that they were run at the time, like ruined it and like ruined his love for football almost at a point, and like ruined the fact that he said he wants to retire, he wants to take care of his body, he wants to do whatever, and so you obviously have to respect it, but it's unfortunate that the way that the Lions were run back at that point was a huge reason why they were not successful because people were not
They're
enjoying
lucky that
playing
Matt
there.
Stafford stuck around as long as he did.
Yeah,
Like he very well could have, requested a trade or tried to retire or something like that too, just based on that kind of
I think
leadership.
a lot of it came down to injuries as well, though, for him because
Yeah.
he was getting injured periodically. And so they would sign him for longer. Say, hey, look, we still believe in you and doing that. Where he would think that, oh, I'm injured. Maybe nobody will sign me coming up. I don't know what my future
Yeah.
is. And the Lions were like, we'll look after your future and do this. But now he's been decently healthy. He got tweaked a couple times and things like that.
The world this year is going to see how phenomenal a quarterback Matthew Stafford actually is.
No, I agree.
Because
100%.
he has played with the
Worst O-line.
worst team in the NFL for years.
The old line is
and
Swiss cheese.
And he still gave them a chance to compete.
Yeah.
And now he's going to LA with a really good defense around him, and he's not going to be on the field for 80% of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In
Better
terms of time, in terms of
better
time
O line
on
at the time that they got there. I mean, the O line's gotten a bit better in Detroit, but not like, I mean, when Stafford was playing, it was basically Swiss cheese. Like there was just holes everywhere. That's why he got injured so much. Because
That's why
just,
it was throwing the ball with a hope and a prayer because
I
Megatron's
can't
out
see
there somewhere
anything.
and I can't see anything else.
Yeah, honestly, like it was straight up it, and
It's so
like
crazy
we're
because
gonna
if you
see.
consider football, like if you compare football to a sport like hockey or basketball, hockey and basketball, you can have one guy on the ice or on the court step up his game and just carry the team.
Yep.
In football, that is so much harder to do because there's 10 other guys.
Mm-hmm.
You have 11 guys trying to stop
the
you.
quarterback.
But even
then,
then,
the quarterback, you got to throw the ball to somebody.
Yeah.
And when you're
I've
Detroit,
seen some runners.
man, when you're 5 guys in front of you, just they can't do their job, and you have 5 guys that are 6'7", 270 pounds. Their goal, the main reason they get paid millions of dollars, is to take your fucking head off. It's the hardest thing.
I don't want to throw salt in like a wound or anything, but like a big point to that is honestly Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. Like the fact that they didn't
let him
have a
bring
lot of
UFC
guys
up.
for him to throw the ball to or do whatever. Not to mention he wasn't overly fantastic at throwing the ball to the guys he was, but he would just say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try and do this myself," and just run for 8,000 yards in a game, and they still couldn't pull it off. Like it shows that doesn't matter how good one player is, you still do need a good supporting cast in the football team to be able to do that. And it doesn't matter if you can put up 57 points, you better hope that your defense can stop them at 50. You know, like it's kind of it. It's the one sport where like your best player in the team actually has no effect on what's happening on the other side of the ball at some point. So
Well, again, I think that goes back to exactly
Water polo.
what you just said, though, is number of players on the field. Like when you have at any given moment 20 guys on the field, both sides, that's a lot. That's literally double both those other sports.
Yeah.
and
So that leaves a lot more room for technicality and this guy looking after that guy kind of thing. Like it's, you know, that one person isn't going to make that big of a difference. You can have a lot of great athletes and dominate, but you're not going to be able to have the best athlete and be the best at all times.
I mean, a big thing is Aaron Rodgers. You look at Aaron Rodgers, the big thing that they've done to help him be so successful is give him time to throw the ball.
Help
Doesn't
him be
matter.
successful. They won't draft him a receiver.
I know.
There's a reason why he almost retired. He's like,
I know.
I'm tired of you guys
Yeah.
not understanding that I am the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Fix shit.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different conversation. But
His
what I
offensive
mean
line
that
is phenomenal, though.
yeah,
Yes.
but what I mean over his time, right? Like he's been a guy who has had time in the pocket to throw, because it doesn't matter how good you are, if that defensive line is in your face by the time that ball has snapped and into your hands, it doesn't matter how good you are, you can't do anything. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to protect the quarterback.
If the movie The
Give him time.
Blind Side taught me anything,
So Sanders Bullock's still hot.
yes, but it's the fact that left tackle that's the reason that they're the second highest paid player on the team.
Oh
It's
my
because
God.
you have to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, so
If you want
bulletproof
your best
vest.
player on the field to be the best, you got to protect him.
No, it's true fact, man.
I like the comparisons of football and hockey and basketball too, because basketball and hockey, you got a guy like Nate McKinnon, and he can come back if he wants to light himself up that night. He's not only putting things up on the offense, he can hustle back and get the puck back on defense. In football, you don't get the chance.
Well, that's what Nate's known for too. Like, there's plenty of players who are known for being dual-sided, where you don't get that in a lot of other
It
sports.
doesn't matter how good you are in football, man. As soon as you've scored the touchdown, you've done your job. It can all go to shit when you're off the
It's somebody
floor.
else's
Like, you know what I mean?
hands.
It's in your other team's hands. So it is. That's why you do see. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like, you look at football. I still think that football is the ultimate when it comes to team sports, because you have to trust people who aren't going to be on the field at the same time as you. So that's why you see such like good core, like teammate and like team chemistry on football teams when you're doing that. I honestly, I'm multiple sports. You guys have all played multiple sports, but I mean, like I only played in high school, but I do honestly think that like in high school I had the most fun playing football. I played basketball for longer and to higher levels, but I love my time playing football because it was just that type of chemistry on the team. Where on a team where it's like one guy can do the whole thing, you get that alpha dog personality. You can be hard in the locker room sometimes, and it's just a different dynamic.
Harden in the locker room? Is that what you're
Put it in.
I did one. I got a joke in.
I did one.
Yeah, so it's interesting,
at me
but
go.
like, but hey, man, NFL's coming.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I think this week we've
Well,
got
we just had our
first
Hall of
round-
Fame game. Just happened.
Yeah.
Steelers it was awful. I watched the game. It was hard to watch. There was, I think, 6 missed field goals. Oh man, it was just even the first the first drive for each team was like, okay, this doesn't look good. And there was really nothing that kind of stood out too much either. I mean, there's a couple of rookies that were like, okay, looks like Najee Harris looked good.
Harris.
I was like, it's hard to say Najee or Najee Harris, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
tricky.
Steelers almost lost Claypool.
Yeah, well, he's fine. He just landed weird. But
He
again,
landed all the
Claypool's-
ball.
Man, that guy is some talented. I love that he's Canadian.
Yo, yeah.
Mapletron, man.
Man,
Mapletron.
The way he just goes up and he reminds me a lot of Megatron.
That's the point, right?
For those of you who don't know Mapletron, he's from Canada. People say that they remind him of Megatron, so Mapletron. He's a beast, man. He's gonna have a good year.
He's fun
too.
to watch.
And like Ben Roethlisberger's on his last years. He's gonna just like fuck
He's
it.
in good shape though,
They,
eh? Like,
they need to get another quarterback because Mason Rudolph ain't it.
oh my god.
He is.
Haskins.
Okay, ain't it.
Gonna be it.
No.
The
You-
only
you're
thing I
wishing
can
for your
think of-
dynasty
Whenever you
league
say
team.
Mason Rudolph is when he got absolutely laid out that
oh,
one
the
season.
dent
He'd
in his
gone
head
up
from that
and
helmet.
You didn't even. He didn't know what planet he was on. He was
Mason
like,
Rudolph looked like Jesse's microphone.
the
After
dead.
Drake.
Garrett hit him
The
in the head,
dead-
man.
Oh.
After Drake and Nike need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
You guys ever
man.
watch that like meme of the girl kicks the bag up in the air on the water bottles, and then she does a flip kick and kicks it out of the air?
Oh yeah,
That's what you did with the mic, I imagine.
yeah. But I mean, look, coming up this
It's
This
going to be
week,
good to finally
preseason's
get some
starting to get
preseason
in.
games and like everybody's team's going to be
Wow.
starting.
Wow.
I don't really have a lot to look forward
Wings.
to except for fantasy football.
Yeah, your team sucks.
Sundays, wings. I'll bring the veggie platter as usual.
Classic
Classic.
Drake.
Leave a comment for game day. What's your favorite go-to snack?
I was just gonna do that. Yeah.
Don't say snap peas.
If you were, yeah.
Or cauliflower wings. Don't say it.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
had some on Friday night. They were wonderful.
Yeah,
Saturday night.
Yesterday.
But honestly,
Yesterday,
like
they were
if,
good.
if you had to bring something, we extend this out to people who are watching, but we'll do it. We'll obviously have the conversation here. Obviously, everyone knows what I bring because I bring it every single time for past whatever years. But what would you bring if you were to, NFL Sunday? You got to bring food. What's your go-to that you'd be
I
bringing?
mean, I love chili.
Fair
When
enough.
have you ever made chili?
What do you mean?
It's true.
Sheena makes it.
No, what? What? No, whoa,
I'm messing with you.
Slow cooker chili. Make it often.
I don't think that there's any time on,
But I've never made
on
it
a
for
football
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, I was gonna say.
haven't been like,
Except
oh,
like Super
Dave's.
Bowl.
Then it's
Dave's-
not something. It's your Sunday thing. It's not your Sunday thing.
didn't
Don't
say
buy it a
Dave, you
t-shirt.
didn't ask me.
I can't wait to have some Dave's chili.
He didn't ask me. He didn't ask me what's your thing on Sunday. He said, "What's your preferred?" I was like, "Man, I would love chili. I don't make it every Sunday."
We're
no.
talking about football. It's obviously for Sunday, Dave. Wings.
Wings. Luke will bring the wings.
Mama's
Or buy
wings,
them.
buddies, all the
Mama.
time.
Cereal.
Yeah. So again, we're not talking about what you like to eat, Dave and Jesse.
What's your favorite? Like the favorite?
Like, what would you bring on a Sunday? Is what he's saying. On a Sunday for football.
I'd probably bring chips or candy.
Yeah.
That's good. You always
That's-
got
that's
the
a Jesse thing,
snacky
is the
food
candies.
stuff, right?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Cereal.
I would normally bring like Tostitos and dip.
Sure, that's your thing.
That's
yeah,
good.
that's
There's
good.
always got to have like that constant food that you can just eat throughout all the games,
Snack.
man. I can't wait.
You don't get your lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
You get your snacks.
Yeah, we got to see some
Heartburn.
I'm gonna start
photos.
bringing cranberries.
Yeah.
I mean, post some
Oh.
photos. If anybody's watching, like I want to see everyone's Sunday setup. Like, when you're a Sunday, you got Red Zone on or whatever. Like, maybe comment. Maybe we'll put a post up on Facebook or something like that, and get people to comment their photos of like what your Sunday setup's like. How many TVs do you got going on?
Yeah, hell
Where's
yeah.
your food? Let's see what you got going on. Let's see who's got the best one because
Get
that's
amped
the
up
best.
for Sunday religion.
'Cause we've got some stuff to figure out because we usually do Sundays at my place, but now we're doing podcasts and ahead of time. We might have to get a couple TVs set up for you this time around. 'Cause
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
normally we rock two pretty big TVs and the laptop, so we can get at least 5 games showing on at once. Sometimes 6, right?
Get old
The
Red
two
Zone.
main games we want to watch for the day at the time, we can
Right.
like say 2:00 game or whatever, 1:00 depending where you are. And then we've got Red Zone going on for fantasy and that, so we can always see what's going on. But
I love football.
man, I'm so excited. I'm starting to get like my hands are going, man. I'm starting to get excited. Like this is great.
All right, well, that's going to be our time for today, boys. I think we're going to close her off. So, everybody out there, again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is a Small Sports Podcast. You're going to check us out on youtube.com/smallmedia for all of your Pokemon and gaming needs as well. Thank you again for sticking around. We're signing off.